Chag Sameach, everyone.
Chag Sameach.
It is a pleasure to welcome you to Temple Emeth for our Erev Shavuot service. This evening is a biblical festival with both historical and agricultural significance. The Reform movement has added an additional layer of significance by making Shavuot the day of confirmation for our teenagers. You will learn more about confirmation over the course of this service. If you're watching us on live stream this evening, the prayer book that we will use is Mishkan Tefillah. If you have a copy of Mishkan Tefillah at home, now is the perfect time to bring it to your computer or your screen so that you have access to it and you can be a full participant in our service, following along with each page number, each song, and each prayer. Also, if you are watching us on live stream this evening, I encourage you to post in the chat or comment section of the live stream platform. You can post something as simple as Chag Sameach or Happy Shavuot. You can post your name or your location. Or if you have a connection to one of our confirmation students, then you can wish them a Mazel Tov by name. If you are here in the sanctuary, then I invite you to pick up a copy of Mishkan Tefillah, the prayer book, which you should be able to find right in front of your seat. We'll turn to the first page in just a moment. In a moment, we will welcome Temple Emeth's confirmation class into the sanctuary. They are Allegra Alvaro, Rebecca Gomez, Vanessa Kramer, Jeremy Kravitz, and Brooke Snyder. While there are 5 members of this year's class, only 4 of them will join us on the Bima this evening. For medical reasons, Jeremy Kravitz is at home this evening, but through the power of technology, he will be a part of the service. Jeremy pre-recorded some parts of tonight's service, and he is logged into our live stream system, so we will get to see him live later tonight. As the class enters in procession, you will notice they are carrying sheaves of wheat. This is a reference to Shavuot as the beginning of the wheat harvest in Israel, and the tradition that grain offerings were made to God in the ancient sanctuary. At this time, it is my pleasure to welcome to the Bima the Temple Emeth confirmation class of 5,782. On behalf of the confirmation class, I welcome you to this evening's service. Tonight is Shavuot, one of the pilgrimage festivals on the Hebrew calendar. The Torah describes today as Chag HaBikurim, the festival of the first fruits. Since this is the time of the wheat harvest in Israel, the confirmands symbolically offered sheaves of wheat when they entered the sanctuary. Jewish tradition has also designated today as Zman Matan Toratenu, the time of the giving of the Torah. Because our ancestors, the Israelites, confirmed their adherence to God's covenant on this day, it is a long-standing tradition in the Reform movement and at Temple Emeth that 10th graders mark their confirmation on Shavuot. They will do this by leading the service in word and song and speaking about their Jewish identity. As a class, the confirmands had several learning opportunities together. They viewed short documentary movies and discussed them with me. They attended a virtual Yom HaShoah ceremony. They had the opportunity to attend the Religious Action Center's online Social Justice Academy and an in-person performance of Just for Us, a comedy performance about identity and anti-Semitism. And each confirmand wrote an essay, an excerpt from which you will hear later this evening. Tonight we use Mishkan Tefillah, the Blue Prayer Book. If you are new to Mishkan Tefillah, please note that generally speaking, we will recite only one prayer on any given 2-page spread. And we will announce a new page number whenever we skip a page. Finally, I ask that you turn off your cell phones and put your cameras away. The cell phones can be distracting, and our temple photographer, Barbara Balkin, is here to record this moment for posterity. We begin our service on page 384 in Mishkan Tefillah. page 384, our service begins with the lighting of our festival candles, and it is my pleasure to call upon our religious school director, Dora Geld-Friedman, to light our candles.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lahadlik ner shel Yom Tov. May the festival lights open our eyes to the joys in life. Beauty that delights the eye, freedom to be ourselves, the knowledge of Torah that shapes our moral being, the heritage of celebration that unites us as a people. Praise to you, Adonai our God, sovereign of the universe, for giving us life, sustaining us, and enabling us to reach this season. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam shehachiyanu v'kimanu v'higiyanu lazman hazeh.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lehadlik ner shel Yom Tov. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam shehechayanu v'kiyamanu v'higiyanu lazman hazeh.
Our service continues with the Kiddush for the festival, which is found on page 386, preceded by an English reading. It's my pleasure to call upon Meredith Alvaro-Gebhardt for Kiddush. Meredith was the confirmation mom who helped with the logistics for this evening, the flowers, the oneg, the class gift, and so as a thank you, I wanted to honor her with the Kiddush. Please rise if you are able for the Kiddush.
Bless all who enter this sanctuary in need, all who bring the offerings of their hearts. May our worship lead us to acts of kindness, peace, and love. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei pri hagafen.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei pri hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bachar banu mikol am v'romamanu mikol lashon v'kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'titen lanu Adonai Eloheinu be'ahava mo'adim l'simcha chagim uzmanim l'sason et yom chag hashavuot hazeh zman matan Toratenu mikra kodesh zecher l'tziat mitzrayim kivanu v'acharta ve'otanu kidoshta mikol hamim umoadei kodshecha b'simcha uv'sason kinchaltanu, Baruch atah Adonai, Mikadesh Yisrael, v'hazmanim.
L'chaim.
Chaim.
Thank you.
Please be seated. We continue now on page 389. Now summer's prospect, the world ripening and growing softer, the promise of harvest fulfilled, the warming sun lies before us. Now the vision of Torah, the world at peace and growing gentler, the promise of goodness fulfilled, the loving heart lies open to the mind. We continue now on page 392 with the Chatzi Kaddish.
Yitkadosh Shemei Rabbah Be'almad Yivrach Hirutei V'yamlich Malchutei B'chayechan U'v'yamechan U'v'chayei T'chol Beit Yisrael Ba'gala U'v'zman Kariv V'yimberu Amen Yehi Shmei Rabbah Mivarach Le'olam Olam Me'olam Haya Yitbarach Yitbarach V'yishtabach V'yitbar V'yitramam V'yitnaseh V'yitadar V'yitaleh V'yitalal Shemei Kedusha B'richu Leila Mir Kol V'chata V'shirata Tushvichata V'nechemata Ta'amiran Ve'alma V'yimru Amen.
Please rise if you are able for the Baruch Hu. The Baruch Hu is on page 394. Okay.
Baruch Hu et Adonai HaMevorach Baruch Adonai HaMevorach Le'olam V'ad.
We continue on page 397. How do we find God? We find God revealed in the order in the physical universe, in the compassion of the human heart, and in the guiding wisdom of Torah. We continue on page 399. Sinai was only the beginning. The Torah has never ceased to grow. In every age it has been purified and enlarged. It has a permanent core and expanding periphery. It expands as the horizon of our vision grows. Not are God's revelations confined to Israel. God has been the inspiration of the great and good among all families of the earth. God's love and guidance reach out to all the world.
Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad. 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 Baruch Shem Kivod Malchuto Le'olam Va'ed. Baruch Shem Kivod Malchuto Le'olam Va'ed. Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad. Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad.
Please be seated. Ve'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha b'chol levacha u'b'chol nafshecha ובכל מאודיך, והיו הדברים האלה, אשר אלוהים מצווך היום על לבביך, ושיננתם לבניך, ודיברתם בם, בשבתך בביתך, ולבתך בדרך, ושופך ובקומך, ושרתם לאות על ידיך, והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך, למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותי, הייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אשר הוצאתיכם מארץ מצרים, להיות לכם אלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אדוני אלוהיכם אמת.
One of the requirements of confirmation was to submit an essay for consideration in the Wilfred Weil Memorial Essay Contest. The assignment was meant to be introspective, a reflection of their increased maturity since their bar or bat mitzvah about 3 years ago. The confirmands had two options for a topic. One was to speak about how their view of Judaism has changed during the pandemic. The other was to present a social justice vision based on some of the short films we viewed together and a virtual social justice academy program hosted by the Religious Action Center, which they were asked to attend. The essays give us insight into each of these young people, their Jewish experiences, and what shapes their Jewish identities. Over the course of the service, they will be reading one-paragraph excerpts of their essays. You will know they are sharing an excerpt when they stand alone at one of the podiums and begin speaking personally. At that point, don't look in the prayer book. These are words written from the heart. After we have heard all 5 essay excerpts, Temple member Nancy Scher will, one of 3 esteemed Temple members who served on a judging committee, will announce this year's contest winner. The first student to share an essay excerpt will be Jeremy Kravitz. I invite those in the sanctuary to direct your attention to the screen in the corner as Jeremy pre-recorded his essay excerpt for us.
As someone who has had my fair share of struggles, both medical and otherwise, I am very fortunate that my parents were able to provide health insurance to the level that is needed to pay for all these medical bills. But one day, I'm going to have to pay for these on my own and decide whether I'd have to have more surgeries done or not. When I was at the RAC Social Action Academy, as a part of my confirmation class, I was pleased to hear that complete strangers who I had never met before very much on the same page and believed many of the things that I did. Despite being on Zoom, which is all too common nowadays, it was really great to talk to like-minded individuals, not just on healthcare, but on other actions that I am also passionate about, like gun control and climate change. As someone who has had my
We continue on page 405. Hold fast to dreams, for if dreams die, life is a broken winged bird which cannot fly. Hold fast to dreams, for when dreams go, life is a barren field frozen with snow. Hold fast to dreams.
ובניך בוקי הים לפני משה זיליאנו ואמרו זיליאנו ואמרו
Adonai Imo le'olam va'ed Adonai Imo le'olam va'ed Ya lai lai ya lai la 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 ya lai la lai la lai la 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 ya lai la lai la lai la 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 la
ונאמר כבד אדוני את יעקב גלומי חזק ממנו ברוך אתה אדוני גאל ישראל.
The pandemic has definitely taken a toll on all of us and pushed back our ability to go to temple and spend time with our community. To me, being Jewish is like having a whole family that you can turn to. Every member of your congregation cares and looks out for one another. Not being able to go into the temple and sing songs, learn new things, and celebrate the accomplishments of others has been quite difficult. However, I feel as though being able to do services through Zoom allows me and others to interact in the same ways we would have. Being stuck at home during the pandemic also had some advantages. I was able to spend more time with my family and find out our own new ways to celebrate the holidays. Between Hanukkah on Zoom with everyone, Shabbat services, or Passover, my family was always found ways to spend it together. This has not only brought us closer to the Jewish religion, but I have been able to learn about the way my parents and grandparents grew up. Learning about the traditions and fun games that my family has played for generations will forever be my favorite part of the holidays.
We continue on page 411. Vayedaber Moshe et Mo'adei Adonai el Bnei Yisrael. And Moses declared the appointed festivals of Adonai to the people of Israel. We now turn to page 468.
Please rise.
It doesn't say that there.
Adonai sifatai tiftach ufi yagi tehilatecha. Adonai, open up my lips that my mouth may declare your praise.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu v'Elohei avotenu v'imotenu Elohei Abraham Elohei Yitzhak v'Elohei Yaakov Elohei Sarah Elohei Rivka Elohei Rachel v'Elohei Leah Ha'el Hagadol Hagibor v'Hanora El Elyon Gomel Chasadim Tovim v'Konei Hakol V'zoher Hasdei Avot v'Imahot U'mevivula livnei v'nehem Leman Shemo be'ava Melech Hoser U'Moshiach Again Baruch atah Adonai Magen Avraham Be'ezrat Sarah
Atah gibor le'olam Adonai Mechayecha kol atah rav la'ushia Morid hatah Mechaye chayim behesed Mechaye hakol berahamim rahim Someh noflim vorhe cholim Umati arusurim Umekayem em umato Lishelei afar Michamocha bal giverot Umidom lecha Melech mehim umechaye umatzia Yeshua v'nam atah layot hakol Baruch atah Adonai mechaye hakol.
Page 475 now. I'm going to read right there.
Prayer is not purely an act. All things pray, and all things pour forth their souls. The heavens pray, the earth prays, every creation and every living thing. In all life there is longing. Creation is itself but a longing, a kind of prayer to the Almighty. What are the clouds and the risings and the setting of the sun, the soft radiance of the moon and the gentleness of the night? What are the flashes of the human mind and the storms of the human heart? They are all prayers, the wordless outpouring of boundless longing for God. Praise the light that shines before us, through us, after us. Baruch atah Adonai ha'el hagadosh.
Please be seated. We continue on page 478. You have chosen us in love and favor by making us holy through your mitzvot and drawing us close to your service, that through us your great and holy name may become known in all the earth. In your love, Adonai, our God, you have given us feasts of gladness and seasons of joy, this festival of Shavuot, season of our receiving Torah. To unite in worship and recall the Exodus from Egypt.
We take a moment now for Tefillat Halev, silent prayer. Inspirational readings for this time may be found in your Siddur on pages 492 and 493.
thing that has grown with me during the pandemic that's involving Judaism is my concern for anti-Semitism. I have always felt very strongly about anti-Semitism and how it is so brushed off. And in school, it was no help with showing people just how bad it was, since no one was Jewish, and they were the ones that were being anti-Semitic in the first place. So when I had time to be away from people and was just on the internet during the pandemic, my concern for anti-Semitism increased. I saw so many hate crimes during the pandemic, and so many of them were only through social media. The news rarely talked about any of these crimes, which made me feel very upset and scared. I wanted to do something about it, and my only way that I felt like I could help was doing presentations in school. So last year, we were doing informational presentations, so I did mine on anti-Semitism. I was very nervous because none of the other kids in my class were Jewish, and because it was something that people didn't really understand. When I presented my project, my whole face was red and I stuttered my words, which is something that I rarely did. However, when I had to present anything else, I was not nervous. When thinking back, I realized it was because when speaking about something you're so close to and passionate about, it's a lot more emotional and harder to express.
This day, Shavuot, is the anniversary of our ancestors receiving the Torah at Mount Sinai, and so it is fitting that we take the Torah from the Ark at this time. We continue on page 494.
Ein kamocha b'Elohim Adonai ve'ein kemasecha Malchutecha malchut kol olamim Umemshaltecha b'chol dor v'dor Adonai melech Adonai malach Adonai imloch leolam ba'ed Adonai oz le'moitein Adonai yivarech et amav b'shalom.
Please rise.
Avarachamim heitivo b'tzoncha et Zion tivnei chamet Yerushalayim tivnei chamat Yerushalayim ki v'cha levad batachnu melech eram v'nitzan Adon olamim Adonai Adonai El Rachum V'Chanun Erech Apayim V'Rav Chesed V'Emet Noteh Chesed L'Alafim Nosei Avon V'Fesha V'Chata'a V'Nakel. Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad Echad Eloheinu Gadol Adoninu Kadoshima Galul Adonai ti Adonima Shema Yachtav Lecha Adonai Hagedula Yagivula Yatifet Yanetzach Ve'od Ki chol b'shamayim u'va'aretz Ki chol b'shamayim u'va'aretz Lecha Adonai ha'melech Yamin Nasi Lecha lerash Al shlosha divarim Al shlosha divarim Al shlosha divarim Alam amen Al shlosha divarim Al shlosha divarim Al shlosha divarim Alam amen Al Torah Al Avodah Al Gemilut Chasadim Al Torah Al Avodah Al Gemilut Chasadim
For the honor of undressing the Torah, we invite to the bima Gabriel Snyder and Joshua Gomez. Okay, Rebecca, you get out the introduction to the Ten Commandments. That's next. Please be seated. Okay, Rebecca, tell us about the Ten Commandments.
This evening's Torah reading is the Ten Commandments. The Ten Commandments represent Jewish law and morality, but they also represent the covenant that was sealed between God and the Israelites at Mount Sinai on this day thousands of years ago. By reciting the Ten Commandments, we reenact the experience at Sinai and rededicate ourselves to the covenant. The text of the Ten Commandments will be shown on the screen as Rabbi Serbu chants from the Torah scroll.
And as the Israelites were one community when they received the Ten Commandments, I call upon our confirmation class to come stand with me, and they will have the Aliyah together. Okay. Let's see. Hang on a second. Oh, God. Oh, there it is. Put it way over there.
Rabbi, we need one of the books too.
Okay, so it's page 368. Okay. This is my book. It's like broken in right to the right page. Okay, so remember. Hey, where'd it go? Oh. Okay, so remember that this is unison, and then repeat this after I do it, okay? All right, give me one more sec. All right, Rebecca, put your hand right here for me. And okay, we're ready for the blessing.
Baruch Adonai Hamvarah.
Baruch Adonai Hamvarach Leolam Va'ed.
Baruch Adonai Hamvarach Leolam Va'ed. Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam. Asher bahar banu mikol ha'amim. ונתן לנו את תורתו. ברוך אתה אדוני נותן התורה.
Amen. Amen. Vaydaber Elohim et kol hadbarim ha'ele lemor. Anochi Adonai Elohecha. Asher hotzeiticha me'eretz Mitzrayim. מבית עבדים לא יהיה לך אלוהים אחרים על פניי לא תעשה לך פסל וכל תמונה אשר בשמיים ממעל ואשר בארץ מתחת ואשר במים מתחת לארץ לא תשתחו אליהם ולא תעבדם כי אנוכי אדוני אלוהיך אלקנה פוקד עוון אבות על בנים על 30 ועל 40 לשונאי ועושה חסד לאלפים לאוהבי ולשומרי מצוותי לא תישא את שם אדוני אלוהיך לשווא כי לא ינקה אדוני את אשר יישא את שמו לשווא. זכור את יום השבת לקדשו 6 ימים תעבוד ועשית כל מלאכתך ביום השביעי שבת לאדוני אלוהיך לא תעשה כל מלאכה אתה ובנך וביתך עבדך ואמתך ובהמתך וגרך אשר בשעריך כי 6 ימים עשה אדוני את השמיים ואת הארץ את הים ואת כל אשר בהם וינח ביום השביעי על כן ברך אדוני את יום השבת ויקדשהו כבד את אביך ואת אמך למען יאריכון ימיך על האדמה אשר אדוני אלוהיך נותן לך לא תרצח, לא תנאף, לא תגנוב, לא תענה ברעך עד שקר, לא תחמוד בית רעך, לא תחמוד אשת רעך, ועבדו ואמתו ושורו וחמורו, וכל אשר לרעך.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan lanu Torah emet v'chayei olam nata b'tohenu Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen. Great, you guys can stay here for the Mishabeirach, but I need my notes. Great, thank you. Hang on just a second. This time our thoughts turn to those in need of healing as we prepare to offer a Mishberach for healing found in your Siddur on page 511. If you are watching us on live stream and you are thinking of someone in need of healing, I invite you to enter the name of the person you are thinking of in the chat or comment section of the live stream platform. And similarly, if you are here in the sanctuary and you are thinking of someone in need of healing, I invite you to share their name out loud or in your heart. In a moment, we will see on our screen the names of our temple members and their loved ones in need of healing. We add to those names Zelig Tzvi ben Yitzchak. When I asked the confirmands which songs they would like to sing together, one of the first ones they mentioned was the Mishaberach, the prayer for healing. I think they chose it both because the words are familiar and the theme is comforting. The Mishaberach has added significance since one member of the class cannot join us in person for medical reasons. As a class and as a congregation, we wish Jeremy Kravitz Refuah Shlema. Jeremy has a strong spirit and a great sense of humor, and we know he will meet this challenge as he has met every other. We continue on page 511 as the confirmation class leads us in singing the Mishaberach. The next part of our service is Hagba and Galila, which is found in your Siddur on page 510. One of the fundamental pieces of Jewish knowledge I feel every young person should know is how to lift the Torah, not just to hold it like they did a moment ago, but to lift it high, which is called Hagba, which is the Hebrew word for lifting high. And so each of our confirmands had a couple of lessons. They each practiced a few times, and then before an impartial panel of judges, they each were participants in a Hagba'af, for lack of a better term. And according to our judges, the member of the class who does Hagba the best is Vanessa Kramer, and so we are going to call upon Vanessa to lift the Torah in just a moment. And for the honor of Galila, of dressing the Torah, we call upon Cameron Alvaro. Please rise if you are able for Hagba and Galila.
V'zot Torah she'asa Moshe b'nei b'nei Yisrael al pi Adonai b'yad Moshe. Ay alay 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 lay 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 yala lay 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 yala lay lay yala lay 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 yala lay la lay la ay alay lay lay yala lay lay lay
seated. Yeah, just step up. Make sure they have your attention.
Being a part of the ETC program myself, both the mitzvah and on-the-road aspect was very exciting and opened my opportunities for my Jewish learning experience in many ways. One of the experiences that I valued most was being able to converse with the senior citizens when we would go to visit their homes and converse with them. It was very eye-opening to see other people's Jewish experiences and the way they expressed their Judaism. After being isolated for so long, everyone definitely needed someone to talk to, and it had a toll on them. It was so special to me to talk about how COVID affected our lives, our common interests, and the Jewish path of life that we are on, such as getting confirmed today. Overall, this is what the Jewish community and our Temple Emeth community does best, is adapt and overcome to these situations, and that is what is the most touching and beautiful thing is, and makes me so proud to be a part of this community.
It is customary that on Shavuot we hear the words of the book of Ruth. The story takes place after the Torah in the time of the judges. The harvest references in the book indicate that it takes place around the time of Shavuot. And like the experiences at Sinai, Ruth dedicates herself to the God of Israel. According to tradition, Ruth is the first convert to Judaism, and as a reflection of her faith and loyalty, among her descendants is the great King David. Tonight, Vanessa will read from the first chapter of the book of Ruth in English. Then Brooke will read the most famous lines, verse 16 and 17 in Hebrew.
In the days when the chieftains ruled, there was a famine in the land, and a man of Bethlehem in Judah, with his wife and 2 sons, went to reside in the country of Moab. The man's name was Elimelech, his wife's name was Naomi, and his 2 sons were named Mahlon and Chilion, Ephratites of Bethlehem in Judah. They came to the country of Moab and remained there. Elimelech, Naomi's husband, died, and she was left with her 2 sons. They married Moabite women, one named Orpah and the other Ruth, and they lived there about 10 years. Then those 2, Mahlon and Chilion, also died. So the woman was left without her 2 sons and without her husband. She started out with her daughters-in-law to return from the country of Moab. For in the country of Moab she had heard that the Lord had taken note of his people and given them food. Accompanied by her 2 daughters-in-law, she left the place where she had been living, and they set out on the road back to the land of Judah. But Naomi said to her 2 daughters-in-law, "Turn back, each of you, to her mother's house. May the Lord deal kindly with you, as you have dealt with the dead and with me. May the Lord grant that each of you find security in the house of a husband." And she kissed them farewell. They broke into weeping, and said to her, "No, we will return with you to your people." But Naomi replied, "Turn back, my daughters. Why should you go with me? Have I any more sons in my body who might be husbands for you? Turn back, my daughters, for I am too old to be married. Even if I thought there was hope for me, even if I were married tonight and I also bore sons, should you wait for them to grow up? Should you on their account debar yourselves from marriage? Oh no, my daughters, my lot is far more bitter than yours, for the hand of the Lord has struck out against me." They broke into weeping again, and Orpah kissed her mother-in-law farewell. But Ruth clung to her. So she said, "See, your sister-in-law has returned to her people and her gods. Go follow your sister-in-law." But Ruth replied, "Do not urge me to leave you, to turn back and not follow you. For wherever you go, I will go. Wherever you lodge, I will lodge. Your people shall be my people, and your God, my God. Where you die, I will die, and there I will be buried. Thus and more may the Lord do to me, if anything but death parts me from you." When Naomi saw how determined she was to go with her, she ceased to argue with her, and the two went on until they reached Bethlehem.
ותאמר רות, אל תבכי לעזבך לשוב מאחרייך, כי אל אשר תלכי אלך ובאשר תליני אלין עמך עמי ואלוהיך אלוהי, באשר תמותי אמות ושם אתקבר, כה יעשה אדוני לי וכה יוסיף, כי המוות יפריד ביני ובינך.
By volunteering in the live stream booth, I realized that being Jewish means community is always with you. The prayers, the songs, the people, they are like companions that go with me wherever I go. If I need them, I can start humming or opening up my own copy of the prayer book, and they will be there. The Temple Emeth building is important, and the rabbi and cantor are important, but it's the traditions, prayers, songs, and beliefs that connect us however far apart we may be. We are connected because it's who we are, not where we are. It reminds me that I can always find a Jewish community by opening up a prayer book or attending a service or reaching out to volunteer my time. Those things will always make me feel connected to Judaism and the Jewish community. And that is one of the best things that I don't think I would have understood had the pandemic never happened. If I can find my Jewish community in a live stream booth, I know that it can be with me no matter how far I go from Temple Emeth.
This time we prepare to return the Torah to the Ark. We turn in Mishkan Tefillah to page 514. Please rise. Yehalalu et Shem Adonai, ki niskav shemo levado.
Hallelujah. לכך טוב נתתי לכם, תורתי אל תעזבו. עץ חיים היא למחזיקים בה, וטעמך מאושר. דרכיה דרכינו בכל נתיבותיה שלום. השיבני אדוני אליך ונשובה. חדיש חדיש ימינו, חדיש ימינו כקדם.
Please be seated. Well, if you have spent enough time at Temple Emeth, you have noticed little plaques around the building that say, presented by the confirmation class of. In fact, this podium cover in front of me says, dedicated by the confirmation class of, because each class gives a gift back to the temple. And so to tell us what this year's class is giving to the temple, Jeremy Kravitz recorded a video to tell us about it.
One of the ways Jews celebrate a simcha is by giving back to the community, and the confirmation class is certainly no different. We and our parents hope to find a gift that would enhance our temple experience. We are pleased to present Temple Emeth with a cart that will hold the components of our hybrid Zoom equipment. We hope that this will make it easier to have hybrid classes and programs so that people can participate both at home and here at Temple. And of course, thank you to our parents and Temple Emeth for supporting us along our Jewish journeys.
It is now my pleasure to call upon our temple president, Michael Robinson, to offer Chag greetings and to present each of our confirmands with a gift on behalf of the temple.
Chag Sameach. You know, it's great because being a retired dentist, it's nice to hear about plaques that aren't on the teeth. I think that's, you know, for me, that's really a wonderful thing. I didn't know what to say, but once he said that, I was good to go. First of all, I want to congratulate the confirmands. I want to congratulate their parents and their grandparents and the congregation. This is an exciting time for us because we're back, and all of the different things that are happening this week especially make me feel really, really good. It's just a wonderful thing, and everybody did a wonderful job tonight. It was very good, and now just bear with me while I get my glasses, because everything is a blur. Okay. So I understand that Jeremy could not be with us tonight because he is recovering from a medical procedure. He has already received his gifts, and we have the pleasure of having the opportunity to also wish him congratulations and have him participate online.
Hello, everyone. As he said, I am Jeremy, and I am super thankful to the temple and everyone. And I would like to say congratulations to my fellow confirmands. And that's about it. I have a gift, thanks to Rabbi, who delivered this.
Oh, there's his gift. Yeah. We deliver. That's very nice. Congratulations, Jeremy. Okay. Yeah. Allegro Florence Alvera. You know, it's much easier for me when I have a script in front of me. To have to do this ad lib is very good. Rebecca Julia Gomez. Vanessa Felice Kramer. Brooke Danielle Snyder. At this time, it is my pleasure to introduce Nancy Scher, a member of the judging committee for the Wilfred Weil Memorial Essay Contest, to tell us about this year's essays and to announce this year's winner.
Chag Sameach. Born in Brooklyn, New York on August 17, 1905, Wilfred Weil worked in the textile industry in Manhattan while diligently pursuing his true passion as a writer of short stories, novels, and light verse. The Wilfred Weil Memorial Essay Contest was created by his widow Ethel. It was supported by his son, Donald, of blessed memory, and now by his grandchildren, Wendy, Steve, Jeff, and Kenny, whom he never knew, having passed away at the age of 50 on April 14, 1956. Until his death, Wilfred Weil was a devoted member of Temple Emeth. Mazel Tov to Allegra, Brooke, Jeremy, Rebecca, and Vanessa, as well as to your families on the occasion of your confirmation. Knowing some of you for years, it is a privilege to say a few words while celebrating both your confirmation and Shavuot. To the confirmands who are relatively new to Temple Emeth, it is so nice to see that you have become a part of the ETC program. To be a high school student today can be a taxing experience, and to be willing to take on greater responsibilities is truly admirable. The Temple Emeth community applauds you for choosing to continue your Jewish education. It is clear from your essays that flexibility was needed to complete your confirmation experiences, but in spite of this, your writing reflected growth in your Jewish identity. Metaphorically speaking, you made lemonade out of lemons. And in my book, that makes you all winners. As confirmands, you were asked to write an essay to either explain how your view of Judaism changed during the pandemic or to elaborate on a Jewish social value vision you have. Together with Maura Wendy Filowitz and Carlene Fleischman, essays were read and then discussed. Having done this together for a few years, it is something we truly look forward to because it becomes our opportunity to learn how teens like you view Judaism and gain a better understanding of your perspectives of our religion, culture, and traditions. There were multiple themes and experiences described in the essays. We were so pleased to learn how some of you acknowledged that just because of the pandemic, you were able to realize that feeling Jewish does not only mean that one has to be physically in Temple Emeth Sanctuary or to know how to be more proficient in reading Hebrew, but rather Judaism is a state of mind, an identity, a moral compass. It is holistic. Your essays reflected the many ways to be a part of the Jewish community. You described the safe celebration of Jewish holidays, which led to a new curiosity about family traditions. There was a sense of connectedness when working in the live stream booth, and car rides home then included the melodies and prayers within each of us. The Jewish value of Tikkun Olam was exhibited while delivering food to healthcare workers, being able to finally visit seniors after months of isolation, or becoming passionate about climactic threats. Social justice reform was awakened through researching anti-Semitism and mustering the courage to address and educate a classroom of high school peers. Your essays exemplified that as teens, under unique and perhaps isolating circumstances, you had the opportunity to further develop your identity as Reformed Jewish individuals. Carlene, Wendy, and I were so happy to gain that sense in your writings. However, here is the catch. Your identities and efforts toward shaping a Jewish community do not stop with your confirmation. Instead, continue to learn about your family traditions. Involve yourselves in temple and community activities, and speak up and speak out about pressing issues that affect the world, such as climate change and anti-Semitism. You are our future. Once again, Mazel Tov to you and to your families. And now the winner.
The envelope is right there.
The envelope, please. I guess this is how they do it in the Oscars, exactly. And the winner is Mazel Tov to Vanessa Kramer, winner of the Wilfred Weil Memorial Essay Contest. Mazel Tov. And you could have this, too. Thank you. You're welcome.
Thank you, Nancy, and to all of our judges for continuing again this year in judging the essays. We really appreciate it. This time I would like to offer some words to our confirmands. Allegra, Rebecca, Vanessa, Jeremy, and Brooke. You have done something extraordinary this evening. You as 10th graders have shown your families, your temple, and most importantly, yourselves, that Judaism has enduring meaning. Every generation of Judaism has worried about the younger generation. Will you remember what we have tried to teach you, and will you apply this knowledge to preserving Judaism and spreading its message of justice and compassion? This has been true for a long time. It was true when the cutting-edge technology was television, when it was the cassette tape, and when it was the pager. But we worry about your generation, the Instagram and TikTok generation, for reasons that have nothing to do with you. These platforms and others like them have the ability to spread misinformation about Jews, Judaism, and Israel. The people spreading these lies hide in the anonymity that the internet provides, but the damage they can do is real. We see this evening that you believe in Judaism enough to defend it. The internet has another effect on all of us, which is to emphasize individualism over community. We can read anything, watch anything, and speak with anyone through our computers, all on our own. This only got worse when the coronavirus required us to stay apart for each other's safety. But confirming your commitment, your Jewish commitment this evening, not simply as an individual, but as a class, which is led by a rabbi and cantor and supported by a community, is an important statement to say we are all connected to something greater than ourselves. It is a powerful and appropriate message to embrace on Shavuot, the day our ancestors gathered at one on Mount Sinai and sealed the covenant with the words, Na'aseh v'nishma, we will do and we will obey. And so I wish you Mazel Tov and thank you for confirming your faith on this day. On behalf of the older generation, I can say we have faith in you to accept what Judaism offers, to preserve its essence, to defend its people, and to adapt it so it is always relevant. At this time, the cantor and I are going to offer a blessing for our confirmands. We are going to open the ark in just a moment, and you can see Jeremy being blessed. We blessed him at our rehearsal a couple of weeks ago. You'll be able to see his blessing on your monitors, and then we will bless the other members of the class here in front of the ark. Please rise for the blessing of the confirmands. Having offered an individual blessing for each of our confirmands, Cantor Tillman and I would now like to bless the class with these words. May God bless you and keep you. May God's light shine down upon you, and may God be gracious to you. May God's Spirit lift you up, and may God give you shalom, the gift of peace, now and always. And let us say, Amen. Mazel tov. Okay. Please be seated. Okay, you guys can have a seat. Edmund Flegg was a French-Jewish playwright and philosopher born in 1874. His work was influenced by a wave of anti-Semitism in the wake of the Dreyfus Affair, which gripped the country when Flegg was 20 years old. Flegg's most influential period of writing was after World War I, when he was instrumental in the French-Jewish awakening of the interwar years. One of his enduring works is a poem called I Am a Jew, in which he articulates his Jewish identity in terms of faith and community, introspection, and outward action. It has long been a tradition at Temple Emeth that the confirmation class recite I Am a Jew together as a reflection of their greater appreciation of faith and community. I Am a Jew is found in the Siddur on page 429. If you are here in the sanctuary, I invite you to direct your attention to the screen as all 5 members of the class recite this poem together.
I am a Jew because the faith of Israel demands no abdication of my mind. I am a Jew because the faith of Israel requires all the devotion of my heart. I am a Jew because in every place where suffering weeps, the Jew weeps. I am a Jew because at every time when despair cries out, the Jew hopes. I am a Jew because the word of Israel is the oldest and the newest. I am a Jew because Israel's promise is the universal promise. I am a Jew because for Israel the world is not completed, we are completing it. I am a Jew because for Israel humanity is not created, we are creating it. I am a Jew because Israel places humanity and its unity above the nations and above Israel itself. I am a Jew because above humanity, image of divine unity, Israel places the unity which is divine.
We could not have reached our confirmation and led this service without help from many people. Thank you to Dora Friedman for her tireless work as a Jewish educator. Thank you to Rabbi Serbiu and Cantor Tillam for their wisdom and guidance. We would also wish to acknowledge our accompanist, Tom Masaccio, and his wonderful musical talent. We wish to thank the temple staff for their help in arranging the service and the reception. Thank you to the volunteers in the live stream booth this evening, Dan Furshine and Talia Serbiu. And of course, we would like to thank our families, especially our parents and our siblings, Following the service, everyone present this evening is invited to an oneg in the social hall. We look forward to this chance to celebrate. Chag Sameach.
We continue now with the concluding prayers of our service, the Aleinu and the Mourner's Kaddish. We invite you to turn to page 586 at the bottom of the page. Please rise if you are able for the Aleinu. Okay, this is the one that used to
Aleinu l'shabeach ladon hakol latet gdula liotzer bereshit shelo asan k'goyei haratzah velo samanu mishpat adama shelo sam chelkeinu kahem v'gar aleinu k'chol amanam v'anachnu pori'im u'mishtachavim u'madim lifnei melech malchei hamlachim HaKadosh Baruch Hu V'nemar V'ayadonai L'melech al kol haaretz Bayom hahu Yeh Adonai echad U'shemo
We remain standing as we turn to page 597. Our thoughts turn to those who have departed this earth, our own loved ones, those whom our friends and neighbors have lost, the martyrs of our people whose graves are unmarked, and those of every race and nation whose lives have been a blessing to humanity. As we remember them, we meditate on the meaning of love and loss, of life and death. We turn to page 598 as we recite the life-affirming words of the Kaddish. Yitgadal v'yitgadash shemei Rabbah. Be'alma divra chirutei v'yamlich malchutei. B'chayechon v'yomechon v'chayei d'chol beit Yisrael. Ba'agala uv'yizman kari v'imru amen. Yehei shmei Rabbah mivorach leolam u'almei almaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh. V'yithadar v'yit'aleh v'yithalal shemei d'kudsha b'rechu. Le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata. Tushbechata v'nechemata. Da'amiran be'alma v'imru amen. Yehei shlama Rabbah min shemaya. V'chayim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. V'imru amen. Oseh shalom b'imromav. Hu ya'aseh shalom. Aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. V'imru amen. May the source of peace send peace to all who mourn and comfort to all who are bereaved. And let us say, amen. Please be seated. Celebrating confirmation is a simcha for every family member. But this class is special because 3 of the 5 members of the class have grandparents who are also temple members. In a moment, we will invite all the parents and grandparents to the bima to sing the Shechianu. But first, I would like to offer a special mazel tov to the Temple Emeth grandparents of this class. Rebecca Gomez's grandparents, Pauline and Stan Hecht. Vanessa Kramer's grandparents, Linda and Jim Rothenberg. And Jeremy Kravitz's grandparents, Brenda and Alvin Kravitz. At this time, I invite all the parents and grandparents to ascend the bima, stand next to your confirmand, and then we will join together in the Shechianu. Sorry, but hide order. Reverse hide order. Please join us in the Shechianu.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam shehechayanu v'kimanu v'higianu lazman hazeh. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam shehechayanu v'kimanu v'higianu lazman hazeh.
You enjoyed that moment, parents and grandparents. It is a moment of pride and nachas indeed. I invite you now to return to your seats in the congregation. Okay, and remember, we're going to line up for our exits. We're going to wait for everyone to sit down. Go right out the door. Okay. I'll follow you out, don't worry. Well, we have reached the end of our service. If you've been watching us on live stream, it is your last chance to post something in the chat or comment section of the live stream platform, especially Mazel Tov to the class or any individual member of the class. That would be a lovely thing. And we are going to exit the sanctuary in recessional, singing the only song that someone would want to sing at this time. Please join us in singing Siman Tov and Mazel Tov.
Siman Tov, Mazel Tov, Mazel Tov, Siman Tov, Siman Tov, Mazel Tov, Mazel Tov, Siman Tov, Siman Tov, Mazel Tov, Mazel Tov, Siman Tov, Yeilanu. Siman Tov, Mazel Tov, Mazel Tov, Siman Tov, Siman Tov, Mazel Tov, Mazel Tov, Siman Tov, Siman Tov, Mazel Tov, Mazel Tov, Siman Tov, Yeilanu. Mazel Tov, Mazel Tov, Siman Tov, Siman Tov, Mazel Tov, Mazel Tov, Siman Tov, Siman Tov, Mazel Tov, Mazel Tov, Siman Tov, Yeilanu.